The story of Jamie Cavanagh, who had his identity stolen, it seems, and huge debts run up in HSBC, debts which he didn't recognise, and he's never banked with HSBC, he says. So he reported the issue to HSBC, and HSBC said that they would get back to him in 2 weeks. And 14 weeks go by, and he's receiving demands for the money from HSBC, and he rings up again, and he goes in again, and all this sort of stuff. No, there are two issues here. Issue number one is the fraud and the stealing of his name, and the fact that people went to the effort to open accounts in his name, to check his credit score, and then to take out huge amounts of cash from a credit card that they opened in his name, with a credit limit of £13,000. It is an extraordinary story, and his credit score, of course, has plummeted as a result of all this. What I find so much more extraordinary, and I'm using the word advisedly, though I know there will be people in the comments section who will flag up my use of the word extraordinary. I think I'm just going to own that word, because so many things in today's world, in today's UK, merit the response that something is extraordinary. And what is most extraordinary is not so much the fact that somebody has defrauded Jamie, but the fact that HSBC proves to be as useless as I called them out for being just over a year and a half ago. I banked with HSBC for a short period of time, actually quite a long period of time, and I stopped. I eventually decided it was not worth it, because they didn't take anything seriously. And because if there was a problem, and there were a number of issues, you couldn't get to speak to anybody. You couldn't get anything dealt with. I think this is a malaise which is running across banking. I think it's a problem with the sanctification of bureaucracy, the divinization of bureaucracy, the apotheosis of bureaucracy over common sense and over reputation and honesty and a serious conversation. So you go into a bank, particularly HSBC, when you can find a branch that works, and then you're handed a phone, and you make the same phone call to their central office, and then you're on hold for an hour, and you speak to somebody who is identified simply by their first name. Carol, John. I don't believe the name anyway. I mean, the only people I know who go through life with a moniker like that, simply with a first name, are either the Pope, the King, or a prostitute. And which one do they aim to be? Which one do they claim to be? It's not reassuring. And sometimes you say, what is your name? And they mumble it. And you realize, they don't want you to know their name. What's your name? Could you please repeat that? And it becomes pointless. You might even ask, what's your second name? I don't have to give you that. And then there's that standoff where it becomes aggressive. This is the tyranny of bureaucracy. And the absurdity of HSBC says, yeah, we'll get back to you in 2 weeks. We'll do an investigation. In 2 weeks, we'll get back to you. And it means nothing. I've had that 2 weeks. I've had that 6 weeks. I've had that we're investigating. I've had them calling me in the middle of the day, and they expect an immediate response when they call me. They ask ridiculous questions like, what was the last transaction in your account? How would I know? I don't pay attention to my account. I don't gaze at my account in some sort of loving, bureaucratic way. My account is a tool which I use when I need it. I don't lovingly massage it and remember every finer detail. If I did, I would be a banker. I'm not a banker. I expect the bank to look after my money, and if it can't look after my money, and if it can't respond in the timely way that it suggests it's going to, if it can't keep its word, then I don't want it. And I think this is the same message which Jamie Cavanagh is sending us. If the bank says, we'll do an investigation, we'll be back to you in 2 weeks, and if they're not, they cannot keep their word, why would you trust them with your money, with your reputation? In the case of Jamie Cavanagh, he has very little choice because somebody has run off with his name, somebody has posed as him, and the bank is not prepared to acknowledge the fact that it is not safe. But I know it's not safe. And I think there's plenty of people who can leave comments below telling us very clearly that HSBC is one of the banks that is not safe in this country. But, hey, very few banks are at the moment because they're in love with their own bureaucracy, with their own power, and their own idea that they're God. They have their own time frames. And what they say doesn't matter because it's said by Jordan, Jolly, Cheryl, and we have no idea who these people are.